School of Money by Dr. Olumide Emmanuel. Section 2. Chapter 1. Understanding Money. The starting point for anyone who truly wants financial freedom is to have a clear understanding of what money really is, because if you don't know what you're looking for, you will not know when you find it. I have discovered that the major missing link in the mindset of people is the fact that they don't know what money really is. That is why they mistake currency for money, or the card and papers in their pockets and wallets for money. Your currency is not money. Your credit card is not money. Your ATM card is not money. Your checkbook is not money. This may be shocking statements to you, but you need to open up your mind and allow new light. If paper currency is money, what do you call what existed before paper? And what do you call the credit or the ATM card, which is plastic? If the credit or the ATM card is money, why do you think you are poor? Just use the card to get anything you want and see if you will succeed. If your checkbook is money, why not just write a check to cover for all your needs and wants? The world was created by the Creator without any paper currency, checkbook, credit, or ATM card. Can we then say the Creator was broke and poor when He was still able to create the world without currency? No. To fully understand what money really is, we need to travel back in time and see the evolution of money. This should help you get a new perspective, just like the story in the email forwarded to me below. Different perspective. What is perspective? The appearance of things relative to one another as determined by their distance from the viewer. Matter of perspective, quite interesting and food for thought. The difference between rich and poor people. One day, the father of a very wealthy family took his son on a trip to the countryside with the express purpose of showing him how poor people lived. They spent a couple of days and nights on the farm of what would be considered a very poor family. On their return from their trip, the father asked his son, "How was the trip, Dad?" "It was great, Dad." "Did you see how poor people live?" the father asked. "Oh, yeah," said the son. "So, tell me, what did you learn from the trip?" asked the father. The son answered, "I saw that we have one dog and they had 4. We have a pool that reaches to the middle of our garden, and they have a creek that has no end. We have imported lanterns in our garden, and they have the stars at night. Our patio reaches to the front yard, and they have the whole horizon. We have a small piece of land to live on, and they have fields that go beyond our sight. We have servants who serve us, but they serve others. We buy our food, but they grow theirs. We have walls around our property to protect us. They have friends to protect them." The boy's father was speechless. Then his son added, "Thanks, Dad, for showing me how poor we are." Isn't perspective a wonderful thing? It makes you wonder what would happen if we all gave thanks for everything we have, instead of worrying about what we don't have. Appreciate every single thing you have, especially your friends. Let us begin the journey of the evolution of money. Level 1. Evolution. The hunter-gatherer caveman era. At this stage of evolution, people hardly wore clothes, no shops or malls, no cars, no bills to pay, no class system. Everyone was on the same level in many regards. The land was useless to them because they were yet to discover its potential. Money, as you know it today, i.e. your currency and cards, were useless at that point. If you had given $10 million to a man then, he probably would have used it to fuel his fire, because that was not real money and they had nothing to buy. At this level, almost everyone was primarily a hunter, who hunted to feed himself and his family just to survive from day to day. Their energy and skill to hunt were their major assets of their time. So it will be safe to say energy and skill to hunt were their own money. If energy and skill were their own money, why is energy and skill not seen as money today? Energy equals hard work, skill equals smart work. Is hard work and smart work not still relevant today? Why are people looking for paper currency and not using their energy and skill to get what they want in today's world? Food for thought. Level 2 evolution, the farming and agrarian age. We all grow and evolve by emulation, observation, and awareness as we move on in life. There are things that are better taught than caught, while some are better caught than taught. In the first level of evolution, the inhabitants of the land were more concerned about what was moving on the land, animals, than the land itself or what was underneath. However, as man evolved, they discovered that the land had value and could be used for sowing and reaping. Hence, the farming and agrarian age was born. Those who remained in level 1 as hunters and refused to transfer their energy and skill to farming and owning plantations gradually lost ground and became obscure and outdated. Realizing the importance of the land and the fact that affluence was tied to the size of plantation owned, many things began to change, like class system. At this stage, the class system became an issue, and people started claiming ownership of lands as settlers and indigenous. If you study well, you will realize that in most nations of the world, the land either belongs to the royals, royal estate, real estate, or the government, and people are only permitted to own land subject to royal or government approvals. Polygamy. Since the size of plantation determined affluence, it meant that more hands were needed on the farm. To handle the expansive plantation more productively, the men married many wives, who in turn give birth to many children. Polygamy was more of an economic strategy and not an act of love or responsibility. So to see men acquire wives and children in today's information age as if they are assets is really pitiable because it will do them more harm than good. It is nothing short of agrarian mentality in an information age. Slave trade. Realizing they couldn't birth all the workers they needed on the farm, the elites among them came up with another business policy, which was to buy other people's children to work for them as slaves. Hence, the slave trade. Trade by barter. At this stage, money evolved because their skill and energy had started producing more than they needed to survive. Money evolved from energy and skill to trade by barter. Some of us knew of trade by barter in school, not by experience, hence the mass ignorance of the true identity of money. Even in the days of trade by barter, people never got something for nothing. Trade by barter is a business process which involves an exchange, i.e., using what you have to get what you want. The system of exchange replaced subsistence farming. In this era, something had to be brought into the marketplace to get something out. If you had plantain and needed yam, you must look for someone who had yam and needed plantain. Then you could both negotiate value based on quantity and make an exchange in unity and win-win situation. You could exchange produce for produce. You could exchange land for produce. You could exchange produce for slave. You could exchange land for slave, etc. At this level, money was whatever you had to exchange for what you needed based on your energy and skill. If trade by barter, exchange, was money to them, why are you not doing the same today? Why are you looking for paper currency when you have other things you can use to exchange for what you need? You have skills, energy, voice, and eyes, etc. I see a lot of people today looking for money to get things when they should be focusing on getting it direct or by exchange. You don't need money to buy a car, you need a car. You don't need money to rent a house. You need a house. What you need is what you need. You can get a car or house without paying for it with paper currency. If you focus on getting what you need and not getting paper currency to acquire it, creativity and innovation will flow on how else to get it. But if you focus only on, I need money to buy ABC, then you close your mind to other possibilities. There are several solicitors and surveyors in Nigeria who collect their fees in landed property from peasant landowner clients who do not have cash in transactions that are transparently legitimate. In contracts, consideration doesn't need to be money. It only needs to be sufficient. This means that it could be anything of worth, as long as something of value is given in exchange. These professionals have thereby become multimillionaires. I have shared this concept of what you need is what you need with thousands of people over the years, and the testimonials are mind-blowing. There are people who have gotten houses to stay in for free and cars for consultancy services rendered free. I know of 2 people who even got a 3-bedroom bungalow each for free just because they decided to be creative and asked for a house and not money to buy a house. The kidney revelation. There is a question-answer exercise